Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Steve.
Well, good afternoon, Kyle.
Doesn't your hair look absolutely stunning today?
You noticed. I did it today, and you noticed. That's like, I'm so happy. Thank you. It's like when a partner notices your hair, that's something special.
I wouldn't exactly say that I noticed so much as it was the first thing that you went on about when we got before the show started. So
I want to look
I didn't
pretty
have
for
much.
you.
Yeah, thank you. I like for that to be the case. Boy, this started off really awkward, didn't it?
Really? Let's dive into the topic here. Actually, let's mention the geek room first.
Yeah, we don't have a topic. It's just you and I right now. That's what's weird. But we have Dave. Both Daves. It's obviously debate roulette night where we let you guys come in and make the arguments. Tonight we're going to try to pack in a couple extra than we normally do. So we're going to streamline the rounds. You'll have a 5-minute round to state who you are and your position on the topic. And then we will go straight into a 15-minute discussion. So it'll be real quick discussion and then done. Got a couple new topics on the wheel. I'm trying to think, Steve, is there anything that we needed to... Oh, yes. You wanted to talk about what we just got through. We should do that when we spin the wheel. We'll talk about the geek room thing.
Can I talk about this first? Because people are still wondering why my roommate hasn't, or ex-roommate hasn't killed me in my sleep. I think he's just being lazy. So, but I will tell you, if I get murdered in my sleep, I'm going to have somebody record it just so you guys have something to watch. Just FYI.
Wow. That went very dark very quickly.
They're wondering why I'm not dead yet. I told you, because my ex-roommate's lazy. He's just not going to come over and do it, I don't think. Oh, well.
But he leaves hell of a voicemail, that's for sure. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up for the week really fast. Maybe. There we go. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, we will be taking a look at some things that went on during the Cold War with some dissidents and Russia. And Dr. Misha Barton will be with us here at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's our first time here, so Steve, you have to be on your best behavior. Okay?
Damn it.
I know. All right, and then on Thursday, we have Caliph of God. He's actually running for president, and he has outlined a platform on everything that you could dream of asking a potential presidential candidate. We will be getting to know who he is, what his plans are when he takes that oath of office. Because if Trump becoming president proved one thing, it's that anybody, anywhere can become president. So Caliph of God will be with us at 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. And then big night on Friday, the debate that's 2 years in the making on Flat Day the 13th. Red's rhetoric and Jeranism, the rematch 2 years in the making. So make sure you join us for that. That's going to lead off our weekend because on Saturday, we will be having the first annual Roast of the Flat Earth. Yeah, there we go. So a lot of your favorite content creators kind of doing what we did with Kent Hovind. We'll have some of them on the actual show, some of them sending in videos. It'll be a good time. Come watch a dumpster fire like you want to. Saturday at 8 p.m. And that's
has this Cleve actually put in to become president, or he's wanting to run for president, or has he done all the paperwork?
I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
His website says, Caliph 2020, so I think he's serious about it. And finally, we just wanted on a serious note to let you guys know that if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with Flatix, you may be entitled to, oh no, that's the wrong commercial. You may be entitled to some compensation.
No, they don't get shit. They don't get shit. Yeah.
We here at NonSequitur want you guys to know that flat is not forever and that you have a friend in us. And we are starting the Flatix Anonymous support group. If you're looking to leave that awful, mind-numbing, vote down a stream before it even begins group known as the Flat Earth, please come get help. We are here for you at Flatix Anonymous, and we will get you over the spear, I promise. Flat is not forever. Flatix Anonymous.
Yeah, Kyle, myself, and Red Rhetoric are certified Flatix Anonymous counselors. So if you feel like you're getting into relapse and you're going outside and all of a sudden you think that the Earth's flat again, call us. We'll walk you through it. We're there for you 24/7.
Because even Dell agrees.
You're beyond help, son. You're an incompetent, delusional moron.
That is a perfect.
Yeah, we're pretty much what we rate you until you give up on the old ways.
Yeah,
that's all we're gonna do.
I guess that out of just the mentality of following everybody else, Stephen, I went and downvoted this stream as well, just because everyone else was doing it. Maybe. I mean, I guess they don't
I actually upvoted. I'm sorry. Was I supposed to downvote it? I didn't get the memo.
Steve, you had one job.
We didn't go over that on Saturday during the meeting.
Okay, so let's get into debate roulette. Basically, how this works. If you have not played with us before, that's what she said, right, Steve? Where are you at?
Oh no, quite a few of them have played with me before. Quite a few have played with me before.
We have a wheel with various topics on it. We took the ones that we played last week off and replaced them. They cover a wide range of topics, some of them serious, like religion, politics, some of them just stupid, like do triangles exist and do colors exist, even though everybody knows that they do. So we will spin the wheel and choose a topic at random. We'll also spin it again to get a backup topic in case that one falls flat and nobody votes on it. We will then, you will then vote. The vote form links are in the description. You have to be on a Discord server. Keep that in mind. You have to be a part of the Discord server. And then we will take the names of people that vote in a yes group and a no group and put them on their respected wheels. We will spin those wheels. Whoever lands on, obviously, is the one that's picked, and the person to the right of that person will be the backup in case something goes wrong and we can't get them in. We've done this this will be our fifth time doing this particular show. Every single time it's been fantastic. I still have not got my dumpster fire. I think I'm feeling lucky tonight. So bring on the crazy. So we'll go ahead and put that wheel up. Just a reminder, guys, we want to say thank you to all of our Patreons. We had a great time in our private hangout last week. It was a really good time. And if you leave super chats anytime during the show today, we will be reading those in between, picking people to jump on the stream. So we do read all of those here on the show. All right.
And we do like our private hangouts, trust me.
Let's spin that fapping wheel. You must not have very much inspiration today.
For the wheel?
Yeah,
which is always our inspiration was our inspiration was the last thing that we did with the Geek Room, which we'll get into at some point here. But what do we got here? I can barely read this. Let's see if we can make this out. Oh no, move it. Okay.
What is it coming on?
Not you. It is. Oh, I don't know yet. Oh, it's. What do you think, David? Is it on the left-hand side? Yeah. It is. Do video games promote sexism?
Actually, that says do video games promote sexism.
Video games.
I would say. I would venture to say that do video games do promote some kind of sexism. Yes.
Yeah, or scatology or something. Yeah.
We got to throw that wheel back up there real quick so we can pick a backup topic just in case, or Stephen, me get to veto it. So let's see if there's something beats the doo-doo. That's just a.
we don't pay attention much to when we write this stuff. We just throw it up there.
And I'm talking about the fat noise.
Yeah,
it's just not very inspired today. Last week it was pop, 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 pop.
It seems lethargic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little lethargic. I agree. It's a slow kind of fapping.
Is war necessary?
Is war necessary? Oh, that's a good one. Is war necessary?
That's a very good one.
Oh, that's an excellent one. Is it going to stay on it, though? It doesn't look like it's going to stay on it. Nope, it didn't stay on it. So what did it move to? I can't read this. Oh, it is. No. Okay, well, it's not exactly what it landed on, but we'll take it.
I think we should go with that one, don't you?
I agree. Let's veto the other one, and I think this is a much better topic. Is war necessary?
Is war necessary? Okay, all you libtards and conservative whatevers. It's time for you to vote. You have 3 minutes to vote. When you hear hallelujah, your voting time is up, and it begins now.
So get a call to Dusty, see if he wants to come in and debate on this particular topic.
Well, there we go. All right. Now, Steve and I just about an hour ago got finished judging. It's what we do best, actually. As good as hosts as I think we are, judges we are better. And we judged a roast of fellow content creators. Fantastic show. I'm going to let Steve give you the play-by-play of what went down, but it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was awesome. The Geek Room had a brilliant idea to do these atheist roast where people would make a very short video and they would pit them against another person. So it would be judged on basically how funny it was, how brutal it was, and what was the other criteria? Tells you how much we paid attention.
Originality.
Originality, yeah. So they invited Kyle and I to come be judges on it because we'd like to judge people. We think we're superior, I guess, or something. But we went and we watched these videos, and I got to tell you, the quality that went in some of these videos was just superb, and they were brutal. They were just so brutal. And so we would just basically vote on who we thought did a better job overall, and then they would be pitted against somebody in the second round. And if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's on the Geek Room. It's called Atheist Roast. And, oh, no, you know what? I'm sorry. They're not the Geek Room anymore. Who the fuck are they? I forget.
The Godless Geeks.
The Godless Geeks. Is that what they went with? I'm not sure they decided with that, right?
Yeah, I don't think they went with it or they decided wholeheartedly, but I think that's what they're leaning towards.
Okay. So whatever their names are now, go check out that particular video because I got to tell you, that was one of the funniest and most fun things I've ever done on YouTube. I really enjoyed that. We got to watch some really great videos and laugh, and it was great. And judge.
I think I've finally figured out, Steve, why people downvoted so much. They miss cell phone just as much as I do. Listen, guys, I too was heartbroken when I found the news that they would not be with us, but they're coming on. We will persevere. Yes, they are. The 23rd is the day that we got moved to. And we will also be having Cosmic Skeptic on soon. And my mind is blank after it's been a long day. Preparing yourself, I guess I expected things to be a lot more bloody and grueling in that roast, And
it's the first one, dude. It's the first one. They set the bar, right?
I think it's a good thing that wasn't, because I was expecting people's feelings and stuff to be hurt at the end of it, but everybody did a really good job of insulting and balancing it with compliments. So it was all
but the Godless Eye, when he went for the jugular a few times on Cirrus, I think
he did.
All right,
Tony Reed off the chain. All right,
Tony Reed did too. Yeah.
So, man upstairs, do we have enough for a debate? Well, just like in real life, the man upstairs is not answering my questions.
Sorry about that. Not quite yet, but there was some people who had a little bit of an issue voting, so maybe give them another minute to get the yeses in.
I hear you. So, Stephen, you had your crazy roommate. It's been probably over the course of a week. You've read his letters. You've played his voicemails. When are we going to get him on this show to settle it once and for all? Just like the late, great Jerry Springer used to do when he would have serious people who had disputes and needed them worked out.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that when I'm getting a restraining order against him, because that would kind of show that I'm not. Well, actually, the land was getting a restraining order and he's naming other people on it. So I can't really have an engagement with him if we're having a TRO on him.
This is why you have to make sacrifices for the audience. All right, Steve, look out there. Look at the
He's trying to
camera.
get me killed. You see this? Like literally trying to get me killed.
Listen, they tune
Yeah,
in
the guy
here.
got arrested for threatening a lawyer to pull a gun on him.
They tune in here every night at 8:00, and they watch and they sit through just sometimes grueling shit and madness and just going crazy. And they don't bitch and they don't complain. They still come every single day at 8 p.m. And you can't be bothered enough to be on a video call with your crazy ex-roommate.
Nobody, but none of them are threatened by things of death, right? It's not like, hey, watch us or we're gonna go kill you. Maybe we should start doing that though. Maybe if it works, I don't know.
Well, I'm just gonna say you were saved by the hallelujah right there.
Hallelujah.
So do we have enough for a date?
I think we do have a debate.
Sweet.
David McGinnis told Team Skeptic to go to the room. So we're probably going to have Team Skeptic versus a list of no's because
Okay.
we have all no's and then a yes. So
Awesome. Now, could the audience hear you there?
yes, they could.
Okay. I want to make sure people don't think I'm talking to myself and losing it a little bit. That's good. So we're going to get the no's together, I think. There is one yes. So Team Skeptic will take the yes position, and then we will put the no's on the wheel right now and then get it going. And like I said, these will be different from what we usually do. We're going to give each person a 5-minute round instead of doing 2 or 3 like normal. It's just that 1 5-minute round and then straight into a back and forth discussion type thing. Also, this is a good time to let you guys know that in September, on September the 8th, I know it seems like a little bit of ways away, but it will be here before you know it. We have Dr. Nathaniel Jensen from Answers in Genesis, who wrote a book called Replacing Darwin. Steve, do you have the book handy?
No, I don't have it handy right now. I have it in a closet right now.
It's a beautiful book. I can't speak for much of what's on the inside, obviously, because I don't think you should replace Darwin. But as far as the cover and the illustrations on the inside, masterfully done. But he will be with us on September the 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and he will be discussing his book, Replacing Darwin with Dr. Mays. Herman Mays was with us, actually the first debate that we ever did with Kent Hovind in January. And so he will be back to take that on. But that's a really big discussion, Steve. I'm looking forward to. What about you?
That's going to be the highlight of the year, I think. Like I said, I've been looking through his book. I got to read it a little bit further before I really kind of pass judgment on it. But I will say it is the best illustrated book I've ever seen.
Yeah, you did good on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to roll? Or spin?
Actually, from what David McGinnis has told me, it's Hart and Team Skeptic. I'm not sure who's pro and con at this point. And it might be a Discord-only debate. Which side are you on, Hart?
No. War is not necessary.
Okay, got it straight then. So we'll go ahead and put the names up.
Liberal communist bastard. I know what, Steve, I know what we should put on there. Actually, we still might do this because we're doing streamlines. Pronouns.
Pronoun. Yeah, that'd be good, actually. I would be totally into that.
We'll do that next. Guys, if you want to, we won't even spin for that. If you, Steve and I recently had some long conversations about gender pronouns and identifiers. It sparked, obviously, by what went on in Canada with Jordan Peterson. And should you be compelled to use certain pronouns for, like the transgendered LGBTQ community? So I think that would be a fantastic discussion. We'll do that one next. So you can go ahead and get yourselves ready for that one. Whether you, the question will be, should we be compelled to use? Is that right, Steve? Should we be
People's
compelled to
requested
use?
pronouns, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some of them are kind of odd. I mean, I've never even heard of some of these before. Zim.
Zer, Zim.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No,
I'm going to wait
You shouldn't be
and save.
spelled.
We should save how we fall on this position until the thing's over. But I find it just an amazing thing that is even in the sphere right now.
Zer doesn't want to talk about it.
Zim doesn't want to talk about it. What did you say, Dave?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to assign
Trying
you
to
your
tell
gender.
Team Skeptic to unmute. I just put him in the debate roulette room.
Okay. Cool. So it looks like we've got him in.
But he's muted.
Hart, are you with us?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay. And Team Skeptic.
I'm sorry, I was unmuting myself on my microphone. I got you now.
How many times have you done this, sir? That's no excuse.
This would be my third time, yes. Well, I'm in the VMix room, but I don't have a camera, so I guess I had to go through Discord.
I can't even look at you right now. You need to go after this is over and float for like 8 hours to refresh all of this stuff. Okay, so the question is war necessary? And you will both have 5 minutes to introduce yourself and state your opinion on the matter. After that, we will go into a free-flowing open conversation between the two of you for 15, and that'll be it. Good deal?
Okay. Yeah.
Rock on.
All right, since you are taking the affirmative, Team Skeptic, you will start, and your 5 minutes begins now.
All right, guys, I'm Team Skeptic. I'm a pseudoscience debunker, and I am ex-military, so I kind of have a slight opinion on this because I joined voluntarily expecting to eventually be in war at one time. Whether or not I was actually going to be in war or not, it was debatable. But I got out right before 9/11, so there was actually war happening, or at least on the front, after I got out. So my opinion on war is, yes, it's absolutely necessary. It's based on our natural human nature. We, especially the men, and military is primarily men. The men have a natural characteristic about them to be more disagreeable. We will push, we will go forward and take as much as we can, and that's what one of the problems is with the terrorism that we're afraid of coming here, because if they bring the terrorism here and we do nothing about it, we have no war to stop this, we show no display of force against terroristic activities or terroristic groups, then we invite them to come here because they will push. They will treat us like very agreeable women. And I'm not talking bad about women. I'm just talking about a natural characteristic for them to be more agreeable. If we are more agreeable, then the men or the masculine characteristics of the opposing army will absolutely push and push and push and push until we do something about it, which ultimately will lead to war. So in my opinion, yes, war is absolutely necessary. It establishes dominance. As most people here would know, the person that is most dominant, everybody knows about predators. Predators don't go after the shark. Predators go after the guppy. Why? Because the guppy is easy to get. Why do they not go after the shark? Because they run risk of injury attacking the shark. Why? Because the shark will fight back. The only way for us to fight back on a global scale is through war, and not all wars are going to be perfect. We're always going to have some kind of loss of civilian life. We're always going to have a little bit of good or a little bit of bad mixed in with good. But as long as we're pushing for an ultimate good, as long as we're fighting for, the basic human rights of all humans, not just Americans, but all humans, as long as we're keeping the good fight, as long as we keep pushing in the direction of good, then violence can be absolutely justified. In fact, not just justified, but necessary. And that's pretty much, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Mr. Hart, the next 5 minutes is for you, sir.
Should I wait until the clock sets at 5?
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so I go by WR Hart on the Discord. I don't have any military experience. I grew up in a conservative household, so I understand the argument leading with a big stick. It's a deterrent, and that's the way that it's meant to be treated in a civil, global society. Seem to work out that way because we don't use the biggest guns that we have. We don't use the nukes, and we shouldn't use the nukes because war escalates, and we don't want to do something that we can't take back down the line. And nukes are a good example. Thermonuclear war, mutually assured destruction. If you don't have people like me arguing actively against war, maybe war can be deemed an inevitability in certain cases. There's definitely times that where war is called for when there is an aggressive party, but it shouldn't be deemed necessary, because if you don't argue against it actively, it just escalates, and it just keeps on getting more civilians caught eventually, because you have this us versus them mentality that's enforced by that. The collateral damage that's been caused has actively created more terrorists. It's a fact that there's more terrorists now in the world than there was before the war on terror, before 9/11. And I see that as a sign that the way we're fighting this war is not working. I just feel like there's more room for a nuanced discussion than this straw man of course, the predator is going to go after the guppy than the shark. The whole reason for society is to get out of that jungle mentality. And if you put it in terms of that, you're just inviting more and more conflict in my mind. And necessary for both sides to exist, because you need pro-war people when you have somebody like the Nazis. You need anti-war people when we're comfortable bombing innocent people and having a president that says take out their families. That's not a straw man. That's who we have in charge of our military. And I think that's morally abhorrent that we let somebody with that mindset be in charge and then treat war like it's a necessary thing in that climate. I can't morally agree with that. Had an enemy that we weren't actively creating with collateral damage, I would agree. An ideology that's totally poison. There are people having their families slaughtered and are radicalized by that. Had efforts in both directions to solve the underlying problems. Like, I feel education isn't more of an underlying problem for terrorism than the fact that they're still breathing. Yes, that's where I'd start my statement, and I feel pretty comfortable with that. I'm curious what Team Skeptic has to say about it.
Okay. Interesting point, or I'm going to make a prediction. The country will re-elect that nut that you were just talking about. Mark my words. Okay.
We have to be against it.
Well, good luck. Team Skeptic, he asked you to respond to that point. We'll open up the 15-minute round. You guys are just the only thing I ask ahead of time, don't talk over each other, because that's my biggest pet peeve. So
I just want to say I'm going to predict Khalifa God's going to be our next president.
Of course. Well, yeah. I mean, that's obvious. I'm just saying, if that falls through, you just never know.
Yeah.
All right. Your 15 minutes begins now.
Okay, I'd like to first start by addressing your point about the thermonuclear war, the possibility of thermonuclear war. We dropped the nuclear bombs on Japan for a very specific reason, and it had nothing to do with defeating the Japanese army and everything to do with preventing the Cold War. Russia completely understood that the next major adversary was the United States. We'd already had, disagreements post World War or towards the end of World War II. We were already starting to see kind of a land grab between the two, and not just land grab, but like a policy grab. You know, we wanted to institute our policy, they wanted to institute their policy. Their policy was communism, ours is capitalism. Now, the only way we prevented that war from actually going to wartime status is by dropping the bombs on Japan. So we used force, we used an aspect of war to prevent a future war, which ultimately I believe saved more civilian, American, English, Russian, Hungarian, everybody along that corridor. All those civilians are going to be saved because we dropped the 2 bombs in Japan. I'll let you respond to that.
You know, that's a fair way to look at it, but I do feel that the morality of that situation is still very arguable. So from what I've learned in my research is that why we dropped the bombs, at least in response to Japan at the time, may have also been because of a mistranslation. At least that supposedly played a role in what transpired. There was a possible mistranslation in the letters going back and forth between the leaders at the time, and due to that, something that was meant to be we'll take into consideration was to flatly refuse, or something along those lines. So there's a lot of argument there on the rationale and the reasoning. And when we're talking about nukes in general, I do feel that the idea of mutually assured destruction is not is a straw man to you. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, nobody's pushing for a complete thermonuclear war. Obviously, the nations of the world at the time were not as clear as to the damages and the effects that we're aware of today. And so I don't think that even 2 civilized countries, like even we're on the brink of having a major conflict with Russia as it is, I don't think that would lead to an all-out thermonuclear war, because both sides would know that they would lose. So I agree with you there. Now,
okay,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that based off of that, my idea is that as you advocate for war as a necessary thing, eventually it keeps on escalating. You need to have both sides in that discussion, like we're doing right now. So I feel like, you know, we're having that conversation, but at the same time, I think it's more fair to call war a possible inevitability, which should be avoided whenever we can. But I don't want to treat it like a necessary thing, because to me, that's like saying murder is necessary rather than inevitable, when murder should not be deemed necessary under most circumstances besides self-defense. But cold-blooded murder, I feel, is a flat-out unnecessary thing.
Okay, so you said self-defense. Okay, so let's go back to something else you said. Would you agree that the attack on 9/11 kind of showed a weakness in the America's defense, at least in the perpetuated idea of how strong America is, untouchable? Would you not agree that ended up leading to that people changed their mind? Some people changed their mind and said, "Ooh, America's just at least a little bit vulnerable." Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that, but we were vulnerable.
Okay,
Go
but
ahead.
you also made a point in your first remarks that you said there were more terrorists pre 9/11. So see, now I believe that, at least in my opinion, that the terrorists, the additional terrorists, the initial spark to start adding terrorists began when they exposed the United States as being somewhat vulnerable, to showing that we have issues in our immigration problem. We had issues with our borders, you know, not being as active. We had issues with our following up on known, like when the airports said, hey, these guys are learning to fly planes, but they're not concerned with landing at all, and the FBI didn't follow up completely on that. These should have been things that should have happened. But here's what happened. Because of that, it told us that we have vulnerability, and now more and more people who already have this ideological hate for America or for the Western civilization, to give them, say, hey, you know what? Now's the time to join. And I think war's a deterrent.
See, and here's the of war may be a possible deterrent for some people, but I think that the collateral damage is also fuel to the fire. Ideological hatred, but you can't discount the daughters that are killed, the mothers that are killed, the sons, the family members of people that die due to collateral damage that either we or they, who are the bombers in that case, don't care about.
Now, can I ask you a question? For every one person that dies, for every one innocent civilian that dies over there, how many are we saving here or in London or in France or any other Western civilization that's geared towards societal advancement?
Case, I can't give you a clear number, but at the same time, if you're worried about the lives that we're possibly saving there, the same could be said about a lot of different aspects that we don't seem to give that same consideration for. I think you could say claim the same thing on the drug war and whatnot. That the idea of warring against an abstract concept like drugs, and which ultimately becomes a war on the people using drugs, which is a totally ass-backwards philosophy for how we need to address the problems. And that, I mean, I feel like that's open game in a discussion on war. It's just of a different nature from the war on terror.
Okay, so let's say Russia decides to go ahead and push us. Okay, let's say Russia decides to invade Alaska and take Alaska for themselves. How would you suggest that we respond to that?
War would be an inevitability in my mind. I will agree with you on that.
So war is necessary. It's just not necessary all the time.
No, wait
and
a
I
second.
can agree with that.
But here's the other thing about that. War is necessary. In my mind, also invites how long is it necessary for?
Okay.
What happens when we have access to the resources that we can gather from space? I mean, that's down the line. That's not something that necessarily affects the here and now, which I will agree war can be deemed necessary. But at the same time, if you don't actively argue against it, you're never going to get off that hump.
Yeah, unjustifiable war is absolutely bad. You know, it's absolutely negative for society, for humanity as a whole. But using war to push out those ideologies that offer negative advancement for humanity, you know, like fundamentalist Muslims, the ones that believe that women should still basically be just one step above dogs. Okay, we do not need to actually bring those people to the table and say let's make sure that we are both, you know, in agreement here, that you guys are willing to give up your fundamentalist beliefs. That's the problem, is that they have very fundamentalist beliefs that no talking will ever change their mind. The only talking that'll change anybody's mind is them talking to you and you changing their mind, or them changing your mind. I'm sorry.
Well, see, here's something though, because if we're talking about fundamental Islam, that's fundamentalist.
Well, no, I'm talking about war as being necessary. I'm saying there's times when war is absolutely necessary.
I realize that. And what I'm getting at, though, as a necessary thing, like I said, I am comfortable calling war possibly inevitable in certain circumstances, but treating it like it's necessary for all time. I don't think the
argument is that it's always necessary. I think the argument is that it is necessary.
But 100 years down the line, 500 years down the line, when we do have access to a lot more resources than we do now, and scientific advancements, will it still be necessary?
Absolutely. If there's people that want to slow down the progress of humanity due to, you know, antiquated ideologues or whatever, you know what I'm saying? The antiquated formed ways of belief. Yes, no, ideologies. Okay, so yes, so absolutely, war is still necessary.
No. In that case, it shouldn't be necessary, because the solution to the underlying problem isn't war; it's education.
Right, but that's the problem. They do not want to be educated.
Let me finish. because you need to educate the next generation. You need a filter there. Education is an answer, because we're talking, if we're talking 100 or 500 years down the line, we're not talking about the same people that'll be alive today.
Okay, now I want what happens when the same people, the same ideas, and the same ways of thinking keep a block that same filter. You know, they keep us from educating their children and keeping an active base of terrorists and young terrorists to bring up in their terroristic belief system. How do we get to those people? I mean, do we at some point have to go to war to get through the antiquated beliefs so that we can get to the next generation, so that we can eliminate this threat? Or at some point, or do you think that we can just constantly educate, and at some point they're just going to say, okay, let's hear what you have to say? Because so far they haven't heard anything we have to say. They don't care what we have to say. As far as they're concerned, any way of belief that we have is completely wrong, and they will fight us to the death. It's in their holy book.
Go ahead. And see, that mindset is, I feel, a part of the problem, because we should always strive to do our best to try and find out the best methods of trying to educate and whatnot, because we need to get it at the ideology and not with a bullet, in my mind.
Okay, well, let's address one of your other points. You said it's morally abhorrent to let a pro-war person be in charge. Wait a second. Okay.
Not just a pro-war person, somebody who actively says, take out their families.
Okay, when has anybody said take out their families?
Has said that. He's on the record of saying we need to take out their families. I could find the clip.
Well, I personally never seen that clip, so I wouldn't say yes or no to whether he said that or not. But just the fact that even pro-war or someone who's pushing war, I wouldn't say pushing war unnecessarily, but someone who's pro-war, absolutely, we need that as a leader. He is the dominant, the head of our military, so we have to have somebody that's willing to go to war if necessary. You said something about it actively creates
as what we're talking about, though, because like I said, the specific quote is take out their families, and I have that on a YouTube video now. I know you don't know
it. Yeah, I wouldn't say that he did or did not say it, because I just don't know. I've never heard it, so I just don't know.
I have heard it. I've heard it from his mouth, and I've seen the video. It's to me, it's not a debatable thing. So you take that as you will, man.
Well, I'll tell you that even if that's what he's saying, if he's talking about taking out future people who are going to take out 10 or 15 Americans, or who have ideas to take out these 10 or 15 Americans, I see no problem with that. If we're saving lives by killing people, if we're saving lives, I said if we are saving lives by killing people, if we kill one person, that saves 15 lives. That to me is beneficial. Whether it's a child who's going to be a future terrorist or whatever the case may be, if we're saving more lives than we are losing, I find it beneficial.
I find that absolutely morally disgusting. Because if that's the stance you take, then you're making the decision before they have the opportunity to.
No. I didn't say that they were doing that. I said, let's say that there was an accident that happened and a future terrorist got killed. Okay. Now, we don't know that he's a future terrorist when he got killed. Maybe he was the son of some imam or whatever, and we accidentally killed him as collateral damage. And then we turn around and in the future we're saving 15 lives. You can't.
You can't make a point about something that we don't know would come to pass or not. I'm very uncomfortable going on that territory.
Well, I'm just saying.
I would just like to wrap up both of your points by all of that you were referring to. Trump saying, "Go after their families." Fake news, no connection, no Russia connection. Fake news. CNN.
Okay.
NBC.
Yeah, I'd never heard that, so I didn't know.
It is true. It is true.
And
but I was thinking about it.
As much as I don't think the ends justify the means, and this is my 2 cents here, there is a very big sense of whataboutism to what you were saying. So just keep that in mind. Whataboutism and supposition doesn't get you in.
On whose
Correct me if I'm wrong.
points?
The topic was war. Is war necessary? Right? Was that exactly how it's worded, or did I? What was the wording of the actual topic?
Is war necessary?
Is war necessary?
Is war necessary? Okay, so if I can ask, is war necessary? Given the condition, like for example, in World War II, had we not entered the war, it would have been far worse. I mean, granted, the Japanese tried to enter the war with the bombing of Pearl Harbor, but if there's something where there's an immediate threat, such as Nazism, is war inevitable? Is war then? Do we have a right to go to war against somebody to prevent something like that?
It's not
necessary in that condition.
It's not desirable, but I think it's absolutely.
No, we're not talking about desires, but is it necessary?
I think it's absolutely necessary.
I agree. I'm ex-military, but Hart, I'm asking Hart,
but
what would you do?
See, in that case, I would say war is necessary in that circumstance. But the broader question of is war necessary, I think we should strive to say no.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's not
nobody wants to go to war. Yeah. Nobody wants to go to war, but I think Team Skeptic's argument is to mine is that nobody wants war, but there are some times where it's necessary, and if it's necessary once, it's clearly a necessary thing that we have to have.
Fantastic discussion, though, gentlemen. I still have not got my dumpster fire, but that was fantastic.
You guys are too nice.
Yeah, good job to both of you.
I appreciate
well, just to give you your dumpster file, fuck off, Earth is flat, blah, blah, blah. There's your mini little dump.
Hey, would you show Mr. Hart the
NASA, you lose.
Would you show Mr. Hart the door, please?
Get his ass out of here. Yeah, you got to say NASA shill at Earth.
Thank you both, dude. Thank you both, gentlemen. We are going to say goodbye to you two. And actually, before you guys go, plug your channels. You want to, where people can find you, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, Team Skeptic, fucking find me right here on YouTube. I just crossed 3,000 subscribers. I'm on my way to catch you guys one day, and yeah,
you'll be there.
I want to have my channel up for about 4.5 or 5 months. So give me a few more months, and I'll catch you guys.
We're trying to keep people from watching. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But you can find me on the NonSequitur Discord pretty often. So if you want to chat there with me or some other people on there you go. There's a plug for you guys as well. I don't have a channel to plug myself.
Beautiful job, well done, sir.
Yeah.
All right,
goodbye. Well, thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming on.
And I just want to expand upon that a little bit while we're waiting for our next
let's spin the wheel, and then while we spin the wheel, you can expound on it all that you would like.
Fap first, Dave.
I too have a bit of good news, but go ahead, Steve. Wrap up the.
Well, let's get the fapping done.
By the way, guys, we will be switching our schedule starting next week. We will from now on be going Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Taking Saturday and Sunday off, unless there is a special event or a special stream that we need to do on Saturday and Sunday. But we will be getting into just a Friday or Monday through Friday starting next week. So, okay,
what we got here.
Does the fossil record
okay.
evolution?
So there you go. So the fossil records support evolution. Now here's the problem we're going to have for that one. I don't know who's going to argue against that because you're going to be getting a lot of shit. So
yep. Spin again. So, wait, Steve, did you want to try the pronouns thing?
If you know what, you want to call an audible? I mean, if there's people willing to have that discussion, I would love to have that debate.
Let's try it. Okay, guys. In the live chat, there was a bill recently in Canada. I forget the number, but it basically is compelling. Steve, you might be able to sum this up better than I can.
Probably not. It's a little convoluted. Yeah, it's a little convoluted what happened. I don't know the whole story, but I can.
Well, that aside, I tell you what. Let's push that aside. Let's make up our own question. If or should there be a law that mandates that you use the proper pronouns that people who are transgendered and in that community ask you to. I know
Yeah,
that's a
good
very
way of
long.
putting it.
Yeah, but should you be legally compelled to call someone by their the pronoun they use? Because
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
There's a list of several pronouns that it's like Z, Zim.
Zer.
I mean, just Z. There's quite a lengthy list of pronouns that they actually that passed it in Canada. They now have to do that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a law per se that you have to, as an instructor, call somebody by their pronouns. This was the whole thing that Jordan Peterson was involved with. However, your question is, should there be some kind of law in academics that a teacher has to address a transgender person by whatever their preferred pronoun is? My opinion is absolutely not. You can't legislate things like that. And I think most people are willing to accommodate certain types of pronouns, right? If somebody wants to be called he or she, I don't think anybody has an issue with it. If you want to be called Zim Vader or Invader Zim from Planet 9X, I think that most people would just go, you know what, you're gonna have to suffer. Just pick he, she, her, it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, there are some things that are just abysmally stupid, like Zimzer, whatever the hell.
I think it's great if you can find somebody to call you that. Like if you can get somebody that doesn't mind doing that, then that's great. You should never, ever make a law that you are, commanded to say something in a certain situation, because that's a slippery slope. As soon as that law passes, then it's this group of people then feels like they're being oppressed. And I think Jordan Peterson, love him or hate him, summed it up best when he said, I'm willing to do it on my own terms, but as soon as you say that you are compelled by law to use these pronouns, then it's all bets are off. Right. I wouldn't do it either. I think it's
and he's right on that. I think Peterson's right on that.
Yeah.
Which topic are we throwing up for vote?
So we're voting on the pronouns now, guys. We'll put 3 minutes on the clock. Should you be legally compelled to use someone's proper pronoun that they feel is their proper pronoun?
And by the way, there was a super chat, so let me get that out of the way. Prophet of Cthulhu, is war inevitable because we're tribalistic by nature? You know what? Probably. I think there's something to be said because we are tribalistic by nature. We are animals. There is some kind of thing to be said by the fact that people push us, we're going to push back. And war is not always just to prevent things. I think that Team Skeptic made a good argument that we did get into the war. I think it did affect Russia. I think it did send a clear message to them. But the reality is most time war is to prevent atrocities. We see something being committed and we decide to take it upon ourselves to prevent that. We've done it in many, many different countries. But other times are religious wars. God knows, there's been 100 some odd plus religious wars, but that isn't tribalism by that. That is people's ideological things. They think they wanted to go out and make everybody else think like them. So I don't know if that's tribalism per se, is it? You'd have to define tribalism in that case.
I wonder that. Did you have another super chat before I needed to announce something?
That was it.
Okay. So I announced the schedule change. Okay. How would you guys out there like to create your own non-sequitur show? I know that a lot of you guys have ideas that you want to, you inundate us all the time with ideas of things that you want to do, but what if you could pick every aspect of your very own show, the guests, as long as they're gettable, you don't want to go with like Al Pacino or anybody like that, but as long as they're gettable, and the format, the topic, all of that. Well, we're going to do a little contest from now until next Wednesday, which is the 18th. That is my birthday, and we're going to talk in a second about what we're going to be doing on my birthday as well. But from now until next Wednesday, in the comment section of this video, if you will leave your idea of what you want the show to be about in the form of a song title or a movie title and a brief description of that show, we will let the people who are reading the comments upvote from now until next Wednesday. The person who has the highest upvotes on that or in the comments will get with us and we'll plan out your very own show here on Non Sequitur. As long as it's within doable, limits. It can't be absolutely. Well, I can't say it can't be batshit crazy because we've done some pretty batshit crazy shows on this on this channel, but
It can't be worse than our most worst batshit crazy show, I guess. I don't know. It can't be something that's going to get us TOS'd, right?
Yeah, it's got to be legal, and but yeah, it will be up to the people and that are reading the comments that they'll upvote. That starts now, so from now until next Wednesday, which is my birthday stream. Now, I'm going to be unfortunately turning 32. I know I'm as heartbroken as you are, but we're going to be doing kind of a combination. It'll be our 10,000 person or 10,000 sub celebration, our over 1 million views celebration. I actually think we'll probably hit 11.5 before then. So we're a little late on that.
Cal, think of it this way. At 32, you're 2 years older than what you would have made it had you been on the carousel of Logan's Run. Think about that. I killed you at 30, by the way.
Steve.
You got to look at it that way, man.
Okay. All right. So voting is over. I will say that Steve is actually, for that birthday stream, is putting together a interesting game that we're going to play. It's going to be Non-Sequitur Jeopardy, and all of the answers are answers to things that have happened on this show. So memorable guests, memorable, back and forths, all of that stuff. We'll get you guys
kind for everything. That's all I did. Every answer is kind.
And I'm opening it up to our Patreons as well. They can join us on the show, and a couple content creators are going to be stopping by. I have 99 places through the program that we use open. So as many as Island Party, we will make it happen. So come get drunk and just shoot the shit with us next Wednesday, and then we will announce the winner of the Create Your Own Non-Sequitur Show contest. All right. Do we have a debate?
I think we do.
Sweet.
Oh, this is going to be harsh if this is what I think it's going to be. Who I think it's going to be.
It's going to be good, though. While they get those together, one more thing. We have two interesting guests that are going to be joining us later this month. I don't know if you've heard of James Freeman, who is a First Amendment auditor. If you haven't heard of a First Amendment auditor, don't feel bad. I didn't either until this past weekend, and I stumbled upon the First Amendment auditor. And I'm torn in my feelings on these guys, because while I understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, sometimes it's hard to watch. And Steve reached out to James, who is one of the main First Amendment auditors, and he has agreed to come on. And we also have Mike the Cop, who is very funny. Steve, you might want to talk a little bit to
Mike the Cop is again. I watch quite a few things on YouTube, and there's a couple of people that I have been watching for a while, like James, and I happen to like Mike the Cop. He has some funny ass videos, and I want him to come on and talk about sovereign citizens, because he's had dealings with sovereign citizens, and of course he thinks the same way we do, that they're all just fucking insane. Well, he thinks that some kind of may not be insane, but for the most part, he doesn't really like sovereign citizens, and I don't blame him. But James is
he's not a sovereign. I would.
No, he's not
put him in that. Yeah.
No. James Freeman is not a sovereign citizen. I had a great discussion on the phone with him. I've said I think I support what he does as far as trying to see if people are having their First Amendment rights violated. I understand why he's doing it. But I still want to listen to him to see from his perspective. He got arrested 3 times in the last month, actually.
Oh yeah, I've watched them all.
Yeah.
And the case that we're going to talk about in Leon Valley is unbelievable. They had a group of people that came to protest him getting arrested, and the cops swarmed the entire group that was out there, took everybody's phones, saying that it was committed in the course of a crime, and confiscated it for evidence. But they were just standing outside videotaping. I mean, it is insane what they're doing. So to that aspect, I say, go for it. Like, what he's doing is great. But then there are a couple of things I want to ask him about.
He does agree. He does agree. Remember the guy that walked into the police station in full body armor and 4 weapons? Even he said that was fucking stupid.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But we'll talk more about that. Right now, I think we've got our two. Oh Lord,
yeah. You see this?
we've
You see
got
this? It's gonna be a dumpster fire right here. It's
we
gonna
got
happen.
we got the son of Thor and a what is a Puffaluffagus? Isn't that the
It's
dragon?
a really stone character on Sesame Street.
That's Snuffleupagus, I think.
Yeah, as I said, it's a really stoned character. Puff,
I see. Okay, I see.
Puff and Pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have
Sup?
Ocean? Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and Puffy, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here, but I'm not trying to tango with Jim Morrison, man. In copyright court. Not happening.
Okay.
Oh, Jim Morrison.
What?
Gotcha.
I feel it. I got it. Well, we're just gonna call you Puffy because the Puffaluffagus part is just I'm gonna stumble all over that. I can already tell.
Just call me Puff, please. Just Puff. Puff will be fine.
I get normal words fucked up, so I'm not even gonna try that. All right, so we have Ocean and Puff with us. Ocean, you've probably seen on here before. Puff, I believe you were on here once too, right?
Yeah, he's been on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I took a
Ocean.
very hard position.
Yes.
What was your position?
I had to state my position of why I felt that the NAACP, or sorry, not the NAACP, the Civil Liberty Union is still needed.
ACLU.
So
Yeah.
ACLU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Ocean, I
ACLU
must
is
say
good.
before we start, I'm surprised to see you on that side of the.
Well, as I wouldn't be, I'm not going to be defending that you have to enforce transgender like identities and stuff like that. As far as like, the pronoun usage. What I am going to be defending though is the law C16 in and of itself, as it's like on the books. The law that I think that one of the problems that I find with this whole debate is that it's been centered around Jordan Peterson's interpretation of the law, which is just completely far cry from what's actually on paper.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that, but okay, we'll see how that goes.
It's not the debate I was ready for.
Yeah, that's not the exact debate topic because the topic should be illegal. It should be
Right.
illegal.
The reason why I wanted to come on here, and I stated that when I put my vote in on debate roulette, saying it's like if I get chosen, that's what I'm going to be defending. So
I did clarify that we were changing it from what Jordan Peterson said into just
Right.
should you be compelled by law to. I don't think anybody
in the premise of the discussion, you brought up Bill C16, which is the reason why I voted in the first place.
Yeah,
and
that's what
I think that Bill
that's what
C16.
That's what inspired the question, though. But seeing
Bill C16
what
was passed, and everybody's complaining about it.
Yeah,
and also I'm the only one who voted yes. I think
I decided that we needed to make a quick intern and change the format of the question for that very reason. And I don't think that it would be fair to expect anyone to know what Bill C.
Yeah. I don't think Puff would actually have.
I mean,
you know,
I think that
would
being
expect
around
him to
this
have
debate,
knowledge
I've
about
read this law backwards and forwards.
I don't think it'd be fair to Puff if he doesn't have knowledge to argue pro or against this. And as a matter of fact, it's a completely different debate topic because a lot of people they're not against that the thing up in Canada. Now you said Jordan Peterson kind of interprets things wrong. And that's fair.
I'll ask real quick, Puffaluffagus, are you against C16?
Okay, so I don't know the specifics of C16 as the bill. Like, I wasn't here to debate the bill. I was just here to debate, like, should your kids, like, school teacher be, like, forced to call them, like, Agent Zim or something? So that's what I was here for.
That's what I want to hear, too.
Like, I mean,
let's do this.
Look at my name. If I know anything about Canadian laws that have changed, it's the fact that it's now legal up there.
We're not going to tell you as a charge. I tell you what, Ocean. Be on standby. What we'll do is we'll get somebody else in here to argue that you should use those
If there's
pronouns.
somebody else that wants to debate on that side, go for it. But I think I'm the only one that voted.
You can clear up the bill towards the end. So you can come back on. Just hold tight. We'll get somebody. Dave, do we have anybody else that was voting that you should use those pronouns? We'll just keep Ocean on, and then
legally you should. There should be a law that makes you use it. That's the topic. That's a whole.
Was there any?
No question.
Right. Was there anybody else, Dave?
Checking now.
Okay.
And,
if anybody in the live feed, maybe that you guys feel that there should be a law that mandates or compels, especially an educator, to use a student's preferred pronoun, then that's going to be the topic. That's what we want. to hear from you.
And Ocean, while we get that other person, Puff, you just hang tight. You can go ahead and explain the bill now while we get somebody else in here, and that way you won't have to come on here.
C16, what it was doing was essentially the human rights. There's a definition of human rights that's held in Canada, and there's a human rights tribunal that goes over this kind of stuff. And what it was doing was adding to the legal. It was adding to that description of human rights that's held in Canada, gender identity expression or transgender identity to that law. And so what it actually does is it provides a law that you can't deny somebody rental housing on the basis of their gender identity, rather than, or rental housing, job applications, this kind of stuff. It simply adds transgender identity to civil rights law.
Yeah, and there wasn't too many people that was against that, though, right, Ocean? I mean, again, I think it was actually just
there
kind
was
of
a
doing
huge
something that was already on the
pushback against
books.
it
It was
because
just
of Jordan
enforcing it,
Peterson.
right?
Yeah, I think Jordan
There's
Peterson
huge pushback against it because of Jordan Peterson.
Right.
As
I
he
mean,
said,
it got
like the social justice warrior law or whatever, when it was just and he had lawyers that were trying to say, yes, it's going to be interpreted this way, but you'd have to find a judge in Canada that would interpret it to that extent.
right.
Can you say that
Nobody
would be laughed right out of the court.
Can you say that as Jordan Peterson?
No, Bill C-16, it's gonna cause me to have a compelled speech, and I'm gonna be mad at it. I'm gonna be very angry.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I think that obviously, Ocean, there was a whole bunch of misinformation around this bill. A lot of people did get it convoluted, especially Jordan Peterson. I mean, I think he just didn't understand the bill, but he did raise a good point about the question we've asked now. I mean, it did kind of entail, can it be read to say that you have to be enforced to use certain pronouns? Now, granted, to use transgender as an excuse not to rent for somebody, yeah, I think that most people would find that to be heinous, and I think there should be a statute on that. I think there should be a rule saying, hey, look at according to protective classes, and certain things like race, origin, color, creed, transgender, those should be protected classes. I don't think there's too much of an argument for that, but I think
I also
really
think
is a great question.
Should be protected classes.
I'll eat the motherfuckers with butter and garlic.
Speech.
Yeah, no. But I definitely think that. I don't think that educators should be forced to use certain pronouns. No.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go to the question: does the fossil record support evolution? So apparently, we didn't have anybody that felt that you should have to use those. Good job. Where do you fall on this, Puff?
I have to absolutely say yes, it does. I was born in the desert. Like, I was born right next to the Grand Canyon. It was slapped in my face. There's no way to get around it.
I like it when it's slapped.
I know Ocean doesn't agree with that. Ocean is a true creator.
Hey, we talk about that in private rooms. All right, Kyle to Kyle.
Cool.
My name is Kyle too.
Find me after the stream then. Ocean,
So what's the question?
Does the fossil record support evolution?
I mean, yeah, duh.
Okay, so while we've got you both here, let's just find a topic that neither one of you agree on. Let's just do that.
I think go through the wheel.
That's fair.
That's so reasonable, though, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know, right? So, okay, let me ask a question, then you can answer how you fall on it. Does objective morality exist?
No.
Okay. Puff.
At a very very minuscule level.
Okay.
What kind of minuscule level?
Like, you probably should not. Like, it's morally objectable anywhere to just randomly grab a baby and beat it in the head with a rock.
So you do believe in objective morality? There we go.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is going to get messy.
Just get into your justification.
I'm just trying to make like the most egregious like example of where, I mean, pretty much everybody, like, I'm just
dumpster fire.
Baby.
Yeah,
like, you turn a corner, there's a baby. You just grab the baby, pick up a big rock, and start bludgeoning. That's pretty much everywhere. I think would be a no.
Okay.
So you're saying that because humans agree on it, that
let's put 5 minutes on the clock then.
No, I mean, it's
okay,
like
cool.
objective. Like, it'd be like, I don't know. It's like The only way it would not be hardwired into is like if you have like a chemical imbalance in your brain or something.
I think we're about to start debating. Are we starting the timer or no?
Yeah. You sound like you are getting ready to go, but we'll go ahead and let you just introduce yourselves real quick, and then you can jump right into the discussion. Rather than having a 5-minute monologue on, this, I think this can be something that you can just go straight into like you were. But if you want to take a second, introduce yourself, and then you can start discussing.
Hi, I'm Ocean Peltoy. I'm a polytheist. I cause a lot of trouble on Twitter, especially on NonSequitur's page.
He does. Puff.
I'm Puff. Puffalophagus. I randomly start uncomfortable conversations like this with people in real life, so I guess I kind of like to do it. But here, they can mute people, so it's different. All right.
All right. So you're taking the affirmative. So explain why you think that it is always wrong to bludgeon a baby.
It's excusable in some cases, right?
No, I'm saying that's like random baby. Like there's a random baby. Like you don't know the baby's suffering. You don't know anything about the baby. You just see
baby's
baby.
Not attacking me.
Right. You just see baby, grab baby, smash baby. Morally, objectively wrong. But I mean, that's my perspective. The reason being is, I can't find a reason why you could just, in what situation could you find that you would walk around the corner, see a baby, just grab and start bludgeoning, and then like any jury of people would be like, you got it, dog. That's the right move. I just can't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Like something like that. Now, given a specific set of circumstances where in a subjective context that could be morally okay, I don't think in a completely objective, impartial, you have no knowledge of the situation when you come around the corner, the baby has nothing to do with your life. You could just keep moving. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get hit with a Mack truck when you come out of the alleyway or anything like that, So I don't think that morally, like something like that is like an absolute, I guess that'd be as far as you can. I don't see how you could expand upon, like, I don't see an avenue where you could be like, random baby smashing is okay.
Should I respond? I guess is that okay?
Yeah, it's a back and forth.
So how I'm defining morality or objective morality would be that moral propositions would be true outside of human reasoning. So I think that what you're putting forward is very much dependent on human reasoning, or at least human perspective. So I don't see a justification in what you're describing as there being objectively moral systems. You're just providing an example that you hold as reprehensible, and because you hold it as reprehensible, or that people generally hold it as reprehensible, it's therefore objectively immoral, and that doesn't hold true to me as being something as far as outside of human reasoning. I think it's heavily dependent on human reasoning, in fact.
No, I think that if you were if you're like a wild animal, it's doesn't have a social structure, right? Like it would be just like a slightly social animal, right? Like just come around the corner, there's a baby, you don't just smash it. Now subjectively in a specific situation, it's mating season, you're in rut, something like that. Yes, yeah, it can happen.
Are you saying that we should put lions in jail for killing their own cubs or something like that?
No, but it's the situation what happened in Africa recently, where that lady, they gave her so much gruff about shooting that rare giraffe that was so old and it was dark and everything. Well, the thing is that a giraffe was so old, it was no longer a viable male, and it had already killed 3 young viable males in a extremely rare
objective morality here. You're just saying that that you find something reprehensible, or that people generally find something reprehensible. That's not an argument for objective morality. That's
subjectively that could be, but more objectively, given that situation, you cannot put it in front of, and we can't look at it from anybody but a human perspective. As far as we know, we're the only sapient creature, right? So we have to look at it from our perspective. You can't use anybody else's perspective except for your own perspective.
Right. So now you're arguing for my position. You're arguing against yourself here. That you're
No,
not
what I'm
arguing
saying
for
is
objective
that
morality anymore.
there's no objectively, you could not find a human that, unless they have like a broken brain chemistry, it is, unless there's a subjective situation that changes the rules for them, you cannot find a human that's not gonna find that objectively morally wrong, morally objectionable, to see that, or to if they were requested to do that. You know what I mean? It would
Right,
be
but that's not
morally.
outside of
It
human
would be.
reasoning. You're, in fact, in your example, saying that it's dependent upon human reasoning, that you have to find a human that would disagree or something like that. And maybe you can find a human that would disagree, and maybe their chemical balances will be all screwed up. But that's not. You're not giving me any evidence that there is a morality outside of human reasoning. You're just saying that it's, you know, it's that it needs
That's
to
what I'm
have
saying.
humans involved in order for there to be something immoral. Therefore, it's not objective.
Otherwise, it's kind of like, you know, if you don't have an observer, if you're not a player, then there's no play.
So morality is not objective.
Yes, if you have a person in a position, like the person now exists, right? If there's more than one person, now there is morality at play, right? Okay, so then if you have this baby, now it's a situation where even if we were fucking from the planet Xenu, it wouldn't matter. It would, even if it's okay, so even if it's not a human baby, it's a baby fucking something that's ugly, a baby fucking, I don't know, echidna or something,
It could be a baby anything, but if you're going to be
Right.
asking me whether or not I think that it's immoral, you're going to be getting a different question. You're going to get a different answer as to whether or not I think that it's like immoral outside of my opinion, like outside of any human opinion. And that's what I think that objectively moral would mean, is that it's wrong as a fact outside of any human reasoning or opinion at all. But I don't think that you're supporting that.
I don't think you could find a factual situation where it would not, there'd be nowhere where it would be not objectable.
To a human. But like,
To
for example,
anything.
if there's a waterfall, right, and the water is falling, is the water falling? The water, in my opinion, is objectively falling in a waterfall because I believe that it is falling regardless of whether or not there's a human around, right? With morality, I think that any moral decision is hugely dependent on whether or not there's a human around. That if you don't have any humans, there aren't any moral facts.
Your ability to determine that the water is falling objectionably is wholly dependent on your existence.
Right. Are you saying that the waterfall doesn't have water falling in it if you're not around?
If you don't exist. If you don't exist, to you it doesn't, there's no way for you to know if you don't exist.
Oh, it's not whether or not there's no way for me to know. It's whether or not it's actually a thing.
Exist, the observation is never observed.
So you think that if all humans were eliminated, the Earth would go poof and the entire universe would disappear?
No, but we would never know, is what I'm saying. It wouldn't be a question the question would never.
No, we wouldn't be thinking about it, sure.
Right.
But what I'm saying is if you eliminate all humans, or at least sentient agents that would be questioning morality, that morality is no longer a thing in the universe either.
But I don't think morality is a human thing. I think morality exists in any creature that's social or has the ability to.
So you're saying it's dependent upon perspectives generally, rather than just human perspectives? I mean, if I might agree with you that if there's
what
an
I'm saying
alien
is
race
any
somewhere,
creature
they might come up with morality, but I think that an alien race might have a different construction of morality than we do.
But I
Therefore,
think
it wouldn't
even
be objective because it would be different depending on what's going on.
What I think though is that expands to anything that has, like, you know, like a perception, like you said, like not only a social structure, like ants have a social structure, right? But they don't necessarily have a perspective of the greater world around them. You know what I mean?
Ants are a great example. Let's say that ants became moral agents, right? That they evolved to a point where they could ask moral questions. I think that whatever morality they would deduce would be heavily dependent on their biological background and their perspective, rather than based on some kind of objective moral law that already exists in the universe that humans obey. So, like, say, an
But
ant
that's what
structure,
I'm
they might
saying.
be more inclined to self-sacrifice. They might be more inclined for protection of the collective and less focused on individual rights like humans are.
That is my one specific point that I'm making, is that thing of, random baby smashing, once you become to where you have you become able to become a moral agent, right? That I think would be a universal trait.
If you want to say that
Universally, like, I mean, it would be objective amongst anything that could be a moral agent would have
the
objective
same
morality.
morality, I just
No, but
provided.
I'm saying that tenet, at least, because, like you said, because it's tied into the biology, right?
But no,
Then
you're tying it to perception.
that's what I'm saying. Once you have the perception to see outside of yourself, to see the greater situation,
So
right?
you're just it's not objective anymore. It's dependent on perception at that point.
But I'm saying you can't have morality without perception, like a greater
Right.
perception
That's why it's
around
not
you.
objective.
What I'm saying, though, is it's not okay. So it's like saying that does does a does an ant have consciousness?
I don't see how that's relevant.
It's relevant in the sense
Let's
that
assume that it does.
if it does, right? So how do you determine that? By what metric is that determined?
I don't know what it has to do with moral objectivity.
So moral
Or objective
objectivity, what
morality,
I'm
rather.
saying is, by what metric are you determining that this is not going to occur as a natural effect? That morals are not something that naturally comes
If
about
you want to say that it's rooted in biology, then you're going to start trying.
for an organism.
Is morality a fact that's based in biology somewhere? But then
That's what
at
I'm
that
saying.
point, it's not going to be. You're not looking at objective morality because it's still going to be rooted.
Morality
in
what I'm
reason.
saying is, just like thought can't exist for a rock, morality cannot exist for a rock. Thought can't exist for the water. The
Right,
water
because there's no perspective, right?
Right, but there's no
Right, that's why
objective.
it's not objective.
What I'm saying, though, is it wouldn't matter whether it is or not, even if because there's no morality. That water, it, in terms of us, has an infinite lifespan. It does have a finite lifespan. There is a certain atomic clock that's going to count down, but it could never, unless you can consider your situation. It's I don't know. It's like the universe, right? If we couldn't observe it, how would we ever know it was there?
It doesn't matter whether or not we know it's there. The question is whether or not it's there independent of us anyway. And with
But would it
morality,
be
I
there?
don't see
How
how it
would
could
you
be
prove
there
it?
independent of us.
How could we prove that the universe is there independent of us?
Well, let's
if
say,
we
all
were
right,
never
let's
here?
go
If
to
we were
Jupiter
never
for a
here?
second.
If we
Jupiter
were never
exists
here,
before we found it. Do you think that Jupiter existed before we found it?
right? But if we never existed, how could we determine that?
That's irrelevant.
If we never existed, we could never have morality.
There
That's
would
what
be
I'm
no
saying.
morality in the universe at all if we didn't exist. That's why it's not objective.
Wow.
It's heavily
Well,
dependent on our
how do
existence.
we know that? What I'm saying is that I say that it's a
Well,
objective
that's
fact of
asking how I know it
biology.
doesn't give
I'm
me. All
saying,
right, you're
well,
not
that's
giving
what
me
I'm saying.
anything
I'm
that
saying
shows
it's
me
an
that it's a thing.
I'm saying it's
Okay.
an objective fact of biology.
You have yet to substantiate that.
It stems across all. Once you have the perceptive to be able to see outside of yourself, then it becomes that natural thing that happens. Like, you don't just turn around. Like, even like other animals that are social, they find a baby, even if it's not theirs, they don't smash it. You know what I mean?
So
It's inherent. That's what I'm saying. I think it's something that comes
Well,
about as an
again,
it's
you
so
still have
deep
like what I brought up an example with lions earlier that they'll sometimes eat their young.
when they're in rut.
No,
Subjective for a subjective
it's when it's
reason.
like the offspring of a different lion or something like that. Male lions will
Because
just
they're in
destroy the
rut,
offspring.
and they want to, because the male is in rut and he wants to mate with the other
Right, but
female,
you're saying that it's
and they know
immoral. Like
that's a
it's going to be
subjective
moral
thing.
regardless on perspective. But yeah, okay, so it is subjective. It's not objective in this sense because it very much depends on the agent. In one case being a lion, in another case human, they're going to be treating the same problem very differently. Like, it's not viewed as justifiable among humans for me to marry another woman and then kill her offspring because it's not mine. That's seen as morally objectionable among humans, but among lions, it's standard practice.
Well, they did try to make it
morality is
moral.
not
They did try
objective.
to make. They try to make it not. They try to make it morally okay, but it's always been inherently morally objective to humans to do that.
I think you haven't substantiated that.
I think we're at an impasse.
You're just showing that it's based on perspective. Yeah, we've been in an impasse for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think when you started, you guys were on totally different pages.
Hey, good
dumpster fire.
Good old try. What is that? The good old 1-2 or whatever that phrase is.
Yeah. Do you guys mind if I kind of maybe try to get this back on track a little bit? I mean, obviously you guys are out of time, but I think you guys are on very separate pages. And Ocean, he knows we've had these discussions, so I know Ocean's position.
I tried to define it as clearly as I could.
Yeah, no, I think you did fine.
Do you think that I messed up there? Okay.
The only thing I question on, and this is where I think I might have a disagreement with you, Ocean. I think that the whole concept of objective morals or moral realism is contingent upon the fact that there are moral agents. So granted, if there's no moral agents, then there is no objective morality, right? I mean, this makes no sense to even say there's morality if we don't exist. We are agents of moral concern. So being contingent on that doesn't mean, though, if we exist, it doesn't necessarily follow that morals have to become subjective, meaning that they're contingent upon what people think, right? If we exist, there could be moral objective facts that are objective.
I disagree.
Right? And one sec. I think you need to start from the fact that are there moral facts? Then you can determine whether they're based on subjectivity, moral relativism. And let me explain this for the people who are listening. All these mean is subjectivity means that these morals are based upon the mind. The people can say, I believe this. It's contingent upon individuals. Moral subjectivism is individual, but there's still moral facts. Just like moral relativism, still moral facts, but they're based upon culture, right? But there are people that think there are no moral facts, right? Those are called moral anti-realist, and you're moral anti-realist, right? There are no true moral propositions, correct?
I reject propositions that are the basis of the arguments that I've seen for objective morality. So I've called myself a moral anti-realist based on that basis. I don't subscribe necessarily to like error theory or any of the anti-realist like philosophies, but it's held purely on the grounds that I reject those arguments. And one of the things is, as far as what you're saying about it being dependent on agents existing in the first place, if you have divine command theory, for example, God supposedly created the universe before humans existed. So for the time that and when he created the universe, he had like innate goodness and all that stuff according to the argument with Christianity. So you would have, according to that construct of morality, that it would be wrong to disobey God even if humans don't exist in the first place. So it doesn't matter what's in the universe. It's still objectively wrong to disobey God. So as soon as humans start doing that, like that's something that's independent of human reasoning, according to that construct of objective morality.
But I wasn't even getting into that whole God thing, right?
In the universe.
I think it's a mistake.
It's one argument for objective morality, right?
Yeah, but divine command theory is ethical subjectivism, right? It is not an objective. It's not ethical objectivism. It's actually
contingent upon God's ethics, right? Yeah.
Right, but it's based upon the mind of God, which is subjectivism. So divine command theory is ethical subjectivism. Now, to us, we take it as an objective moral framework. Hang on one sec. We take it as objective if that's what you want to subscribe to. But I think the mistake that people make.
Subjective ethics.
Hang on. Right. I think the mistake people make is when they start talking about objective morality, it automatically goes to the God thing. Look, objective morality doesn't have to do shit to do with God. It just means that if you subscribe to certain types of grounding, like Sam Harris will do the harm benefit things, then are there moral facts that are true that are not contingent upon subjectivity? That's it. That's what it means. Even a moral subjectivist or a moral realist can say there's moral facts, but they're just contingent upon the culture. Descriptive moral relativism is, these are moral facts, but they're contingent upon the culture. Now, Ocean, do you think there are any moral facts at all, or do you just think there are no moral facts?
I've given you kind of like my description of where we find morality, which would be like it can be based in our evolutionary past, but it's also based on culture. It's also based on personal preferences, and our experiences and so on. So from that perspective, I can't agree that there's like objective moral facts that are outside of our reasoning. And one of the examples that I provided to that is in this conversation, even I give the example of ants being completely different than us, and it's while still being moral agents, they could come up with a completely different morality. Let's suppose for a second that there's a life form that we'll call them squishies, and they don't have any capacity for reasoning, but they can still feel pain. They have you can quantify well-being for them and all that stuff, and maybe they bump into each other and explode or something like that, and it causes issues with their well-being. But I wouldn't be able to say that that's immoral for them, because their morality, whatever morality is, depends heavily on the ability of an agent to actually reason one way or another.
Right, but like Harris will argue something along the lines like do we hold happiness to a higher standard than misery? Right. So I just even having this conversation with somebody. Generally, as us as humans, right, we do say that happiness is better than misery, right? That would be objectively true. I think for humanity, I think that we do value.
You're around.
Well, but I think that the whole thing of being miserable, right, is objectively worse than being happiness. Like you could come up with other things for that. But people don't understand. I tend to actually moral anti-realism only for the fact that I tend to error theory, right? And so I think there's possibility objective morals can exist. Sure. Do I subscribe to that? No, I'm not a moral realist because I think objective theory makes more. Error theory makes more sense. But at the same time, I do appeal to moral realism when I talk about virtue ethics, right? Because virtue ethics falls under moral realism.
I gravitate towards error theory, but I haven't explored it enough to call myself one. I've also seen some pretty nasty criticisms of it. So.
Yeah, it kind of admits the moral facts, but they're just all wrong. But
I tend to side with.
I don't think that you would be able to say that a moral fact is wrong either. So
yeah.
It's an instantiation problem. The way Mackey argues it is that if you say something like stealing is wrong, there's no property of wrongness that exists to instantiate the sentence "stealing is wrong" to make it a cogent, truth apt proposition. That's his argument. So it's an error.
I think you're spot on, Lotion, on this one. But thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you both for attempting to salvage the pronoun debate. I hate that we didn't get to do that, but let you guys know on Twitter, I have posted a poll for all three of the debates that we had tonight. There's one for the is war necessary? Should we use those pronouns? And does objective morality exist? You can go on Twitter. If you don't know where we're at, it's at NonSeq Show. That's NonSeq Show, and you can vote and see if you were persuaded any that way. So thank you both to Puff and Ocean. In the last little bit that we've got left, we're gonna open it up to you guys to ask us any questions that you have. If you have any, this will be a good time for Steve and I to answer those. Look at my list real quick while those are coming in. I got the polls. Don't forget, from now until next Wednesday, which is July the 18th, we are looking for someone to create their own episode of NonSequitur. It can be about anything you want as long as it doesn't violate YouTube's terms of service and get us kicked off.
Oh, but it would be so much fun if we could do that, though.
Yeah, but you enter that by going into the comments of this video and leaving your idea, whatever your idea is for the show, in the form of a movie title or a song title, and then explain it a little bit so we know what you're talking about. The people that are reading the comments will vote by either up, thumbs up or thumbs down, and whoever has the most thumbs up will win the episode. So get creative. And
did you see my example in the side chat, Steve?
No, I don't pay attention to you, dude. I'm busy. Sorry. I'm not watching, man. I've already moved on.
We're going to see if we've got any questions real quick, and then we'll call it a night.
Questions? So, are you ever going to stream on Twitch, or is that out of the question? Are you partnered with YouTube? We are streaming with Twitch. We have Twitch. We're streaming to Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook right now, I believe, aren't we not?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so we're going for like across the board, man. Yeah, we'd stream right to your freaking TV if we could, but
for the past week we've been doing that.
Technology for that yet. Yeah, got a Roku? We could do with a Roku maybe.
I don't know.
Do you have a Roku? I had a Roku at one time. They're pretty cool,
I
actually.
did, but I'm not sure how you stream to it.
I don't know how that would work. We figured out something. We got experts to do that for us. Trevor says, topic question: from what is consciousness an emergent property? Oh, wow, that's you really want to get into that, Trevor? Yeah, no.
You know what though?
Steve going around, but
Steve Lesser.
Steve
We can
Lesser?
get Steve Lesser on the. You remember the guy that came on to do that stand-up comedy episode with us?
Yes, he's a PhD in psychology.
Neuroscience.
Neuroscience. Yeah, neuroscience. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's get him back. I liked him. I would love to have a topic on non-reductivism and even what's called orchestrated reductionism. Or is it OR? That's what it is.
Yeah, but Steve, who hasn't heard of that, and who doesn't know all of the fine arguments involved in that? I mean, I think we would just be boring them to death by telling them something that everybody knows already.
Well, I don't know. It's Penrose came up with it. It's called orchestrated objective reduction. Oh my God! Eventually, I get it right. But it's a topic that people do want to actually talk about for some reason, about using quantum mechanics in the brain and how these microtubules have these quantum fluctuations, and because of that, there's an emergence of consciousness. So, but I'm not. I don't know shit about neurology, dudes. Don't ask me questions about neurology. If you want to ask about neurology, go get what's his name? One of the names we won't say. Anyways, Gates says what? Okay.
I was just going to say we'll get Steve Lesser in here to clear that up.
Yeah, that'd be a really good topic. I would enjoy that. Somebody wants to know, is Brittany Simon coming back? Kyle?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be having actually in probably beginning of August, first week in August. That Friday night we'll be doing a wine night. Probably Friday where we just pick a really chill topic and we sit around and just discuss it casually.
That would be awesome.
That'll break up the tension sometimes that is very frequent on this show. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a break. And
I got a nice Merlot just for that. Riley says, what's that called?
I was just going to say, yes, she will be back. Totally.
Yes. Yeah, I like her a lot, actually. I really find her entertaining. Rayleigh says, where'd you get that body from? Are you asking me or Kyle? I'm slimmed down. I'm almost back down to 190. Thank you very much. I was 210. I'm actually in good shape. I'm not going to lie. And I'm really self-conscious. So for me to say I'm actually happy that the shape I'm getting in, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Kyle, though, he's a genetics.
If it was, no, it's not. If I was going to say, if it was to me, if that question was to me, I went through 3/4 of my life extremely overweight. It fluctuated. It was like a yo-yo. I would swell up, get thin. When I left for college, being away at a different place and eating out all the time and drinking beer and all that stuff.
Do it with fast food.
Yeah, I blew up to. I was close to 300 pounds at my heaviest, and I had the triple chin and everything. And I finally figured out that by cutting out sugar with sodas, anything that had sugar in it, just cutting that out, it melted away. And I was able to keep it off by just cutting sugar out. And we talked this past weekend about actually doing a show on the dangers of sugar and how it affects your body. And because there's a lot of things that are involved in terms of like the psychology aspect of it with advertisers and branding that trick your brain, and wording like fat. If it's fat free, people think that that's a open invitation to eat as much as you want, but they take the fat out and they replace the fat with sugar to make up for that loss in taste. So I think that'll be an interesting topic. But I'll show you guys all of my my pictures of me holding I did the pictures holding the old pants out and all that stuff. So I'll share those with you guys. But you have to promise that they don't go anywhere past here.
Oh yeah, that's never. No, we're not going to share those everywhere. We are getting a nutritionist in here or a dietitian, and we are going to talk about paleo diet, ketone, what is the ketogenic diet, and like he said, sugar, especially dealing with complex sugars and simple sugars. Because I happen to agree with Kyle wholeheartedly on this. One of the ways I lost weight is I cut down on carbs quite a bit. I just eliminated sugars, stopped drinking sodas. And just put more protein make up for the caloric balance, because obviously your calories are broken down between your fats, your proteins, and your carbohydrates. And I think that by increasing your proteins and reducing your carbs, I lost weight. Now,
Yep. And fats don't. Last thing I'll say about this now, but fats won't hurt you. That's a myth. So
yeah, it depends on the type of fat and how much you have them. I mean, if you're talking about saturated fats, trans fats, here's what sucks. Like KFC got rid of the trans fats, and did you notice when KFC got rid of the trans fats, KFC went to shit?
It's illegal. I mean, now you can't. You can't.
It
It's
was
a law.
so good. But anyways, okay. Some more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Trevor says tell Kyle this. Everything discussed on NSS is dependent upon the fact of consciousness. Well, yeah, everything depends on the fact we exist too, right?
Right. Why is he telling me that?
I don't know. I relayed the message. It was to you. It was directed to you.
Oh, okay, Trevor. I had that, but thank you for making sure that I did.
Yeah. By the way, you do exist, right, Kyle?
I don't know anymore.
Well, Puff said he wasn't sure, and I'm like trying to explain to Puff. I think when Puff was talking about this, he made some kind of weird mistake here. But just because we don't have knowledge of objective facts, don't mean objective facts don't exist. The Earth exists objectively, whether we give a shit about it or not. If we're not around, the Earth exists. It's an objective fact. We don't have to be here for the Earth to exist, unless you're some kind of weird solipsist.
My theory is that the correct answer is always the dullest. That's Kyle's razor. Instead of Occam's razor, look at the mundane answer. Look at the two things, and whichever one is the one that you don't want it to be because it sounds so boring, that's the one that it's going to be. 9 times out of 10.
Well, somebody could actually argue the Earth does not exist if they want to go down this route. What's called mereological nihilism, where objects don't exist. But we'll get into that in time. Sweet Heathen says this is not a question, but she said avocado and coconut oil will solve all your problems. Let me say something on that. I just had avocado today and yesterday for the first time in ages. So good. And I bought coconut oil. Oh, you love this. Ugh. It's funny she mentioned this. Look at this, what I got. Coconut oil for my hair. This stuff is great. This is why my hair has been luscious and shiny. And yeah, so I'm not going to drink it though. But yeah, it's really worked really well for my hair. I'm not going to front. So anyways,
it's good for your
next question.
It's good for your face too.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'll try it. I mean, I'm 48. I don't have a single wrinkle. So next question. Kyle was a chub, got pictures. He just said he did. Yes. Heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, Heavy Hall is a chubby chaser. He wants you
while you find the next question, I'll see if I can't fish out that picture.
Let's see. Any other questions? I'm kind of scrolling back here. I'm not seeing much. Kyle sounds country. He must be from the Bible Belt. Yeah. He's
what country. In tarnation gives that away?
Yeah, gosh darn it.
I have to fight. Listen, y'all. I have to fight every night to keep from coming out here with a wife beater, my Dale Earnhardt hat, and a fanny pack. You just don't even know. Steve makes me dress in these old fancy clothes with sleeves on it and jeans without holes in it.
He got his Travis Tritt playing in the background every time he log on to this, and I have to turn that shit off, man. Put some Metallica on. Somebody asked, Jude asked, can you get Professor Stick on? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know why we haven't asked Professor Stick.
Kyle's tractor is sexy.
I think I have. Well, you're in the Mile High Tractor Club there, Ocean.
Yeah, just two quick things. One, Steve, no, all I was saying was not that the like it wouldn't be here if we weren't here, but we wouldn't be able to discuss it or even contemplate anything like that if we weren't here, right?
That's kind of a given.
That's a given. That's all I'm saying. It's a given. And then the second thing is my personal method of keeping the pounds off is a phenomenal amount of ganja.
Weed will do it. But do you agree that the universe exists independently of us? And again, people may say otherwise. They may say, you know what, the universe exists because we exist.
Now that we existed as like a species, like we were able to exist that I've lived, I exist. Yes, I accept that the universe around me. I'm not one of those people that thinks the only thing that can be proven is that my brain exists inside my brain.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think the universe exists independently of our existence. But there are people out there that will say they don't believe the universe exists. They say they don't believe I exist. So they're out there.
Okay, Dave, I'm going to send you this picture. if you want to put it up there as we close out.
Does it mean I have to like find a picture of me too?
There's one where I can't find the one that shows me like. I'm gonna have to really look for that, but there's one that shows like my entire body at how big I was. But here in the face, you'll be able to tell sort of how big I was. But I just sent that to Dave. He'll throw that up. But as we come to a close tonight, we want to say thank you for joining us. Tomorrow we have a extremely interesting talk with a new PhD that is crazy enough to come on and join us. So we're excited to have her on to talk about the Cold War. And then we go into the weekend with Red's Rhetoric, Jeranism, and the Flat Earth Roast. So, Dave, did that come through?
Yeah. I'll send Dave. I'll send you a picture. What do people want to see from me? They want to see me, and what do they want to see?
Really slow because other people are deciding to DM me right now.
Okay. All right. Well,
Do
so
they want to see me in an
out.
X, or they want to see me as I used to look like?
Which one of these is you? Like, I can't tell.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean the corner, bottom corner.
Okay.
It pains me that you asked me that question because I'm the only guy in that picture.
It doesn't comport with my image of you at all. Seriously.
Well, I know, but to ask me if which one is you, Dave? This puts a strain on our relationship.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You the girl, or
I gotta say, good on you for losing that kind of weight, man. That's a lot of weight.
So he's got it. He's going to put it up here in just a second, and you'll be able to see. Now, again, this doesn't go past this stream, everyone. I don't want to see memes of me, Fat Kyle.
Oh, there will be memes. You know it. If you're putting this out there, there'll be. So you want me to put this up full screen?
Yeah, you can go ahead and throw it full screen.
Okay.
Why not? So this was my second year in college. We were at a dive bar with a couple of I was in a fraternity, so these were a couple of sorority girls that were.
Here we go. Let me get it. It's coming up now.
I think it's coming. So here is your. There's me down the very bottom, right in front, right where the
we're a little chub, weren't you?
Right where the timestamp is. Yep, and I actually. Well, I'm not gonna tell you that story because I don't know if she'd appreciate that, but
oh, we want this is where it gets juicy.
No, these were good times though. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now we get McCrae. Now we get.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you two photos. That one is that's from the '90s, way back when.
Okay, you can take my fat ass off the screen now. And you know what I'm going to do in anticipation for what I know is going to be just some horribly mean and rude fat comments is I'm going to go to the store immediately following this, buy me a couple pints of ice cream and a Jennifer Aniston rom-com and just wait out the storm in my bed that way.
Well,
so
it's Steve's turn now.
Is what?
It's Steve's turn.
Oh yeah. Well, this is
just real. This is a really old picture.
Steve prior. Yeah. It looks like Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah. No. Wait. Is it Billy Ray? No. They say I look like Cat Stevens. I think. And then here's me and one of my exes back in the day when I actually had like hot chicks. If you guys want to, since he had girls, you can see my type.
This is before you went wizard.
Yeah. This is before. Yeah. Totally.
Cool. Well, that was a nice trip down memory lane. So
this one saved real quick, and I'll get it in there. Hold on.
Yeah,
this is fun, Steve.
Memory lane. Did it download?
Yeah, it did. I just gotta change it.
Okay.
And after this, guys, we will say good night to you, and we will be back here tomorrow at 8. But we will leave you now with this picture of Steve.
I'll tell you this right here now. She's on Pornhub.
Before This is before
So
the
I
philosophy
tell you what, hang on one second.
is into a
if
wizard.
if you're a Patreon, I'll send you the link to her Pornhub stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that to her, but she is on Pornhub. Yeah.
Only if you're a 25 and up Patreon.
Yeah, we lived together for some time.
Yep. She's on Pornhub. She can't
Which
have
one is Steve? Fuck you. Which one is Steve? Really?
Privacy. Okay. So thank you for indulging us on the trip down memory lane. That was kind of fun. I will at some point break out all of the fat pictures and you guys can go to town on those. So thank you for joining us once again. Thank you to all the guys that we had debating tonight. And again, those polls will be up on Twitter. Find us at NonSec Show. And then if you would like to create your own episode of Non Sequitur, leave your idea in the form of a movie title or a song title in the comments. And the one who has the most votes next Wednesday, the 18th, will get to create their own episode, as long as it's legal and not a bad idea. So until then, we will see you tomorrow.
Good night.